All right, back on the morning drive on this Thursday morning. I'm Chris Beckham. Thanks for spending part of your morning with us. 72 degrees and foggy in some places. We're going to have some rain this morning, so make sure you grab that umbrella before you leave your house to head out to work or school. It's going to be a little bit wet this morning, but we'll get through it. This interview segment brought to you by our good friends at Kelly Lovett and Blakely. You can go by and see them if you have questions about your credit or possible bankruptcy. Bankruptcyga.com can answer some of those questions, but Tom Lovett and those folks at Kelly Lovett and Blakely, they can answer a lot of your questions. Again, if you have overwhelming debt caused by credit cards, car payments, house payments, they can create financial stress, and the folks at Kelly Lovett and Blakely can get you through that. Joining us this morning, a candidate for the newly drawn district, State House District 177, Glenn Gregory in studio with us. Glenn, good morning. How are you?
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you.
Well, let's turn your microphone on. That will help a little bit, Glenn. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you.
Well, we're certainly glad, and thanks for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us this morning. I know campaigning for any seat, especially a state-level seat, is a big-time demand on you. So,
well, it's quite a challenge, and one of the things I wanted to do before I get started here was thank you for allowing me to come in. I listen to your show regularly. I really enjoy people calling in and asking questions. It feels like you're out there in touch with the community. And thank you for your attitude with people. Even though you disagree with them, you're courteous. And that's unique in this world today.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you listening. And I know that's kind of part and parcel to what the reason you're running for this House seat is to try to serve the people in this district.
Absolutely. This district came about from our census in 2010. When everything was counted, we had earned another House seat. Mm-hmm. Currently, we have three legislators. We have Amy Carter, Ellis Black, and Jason Shaw. Mm-hmm. And now we have this seat that's open. And, of course, they looked at the population, and they drew these lines mainly in the heart of Valdosta, and that's what this represents. I brought a map with me today, and certainly I-75 is the western border, and then it goes all the way out on the east to CCC Road, makes a big swing out there, and that's where it picks up our place on Stallings Road. And then it comes back into town, and you got downtown Valdosta, you got Brookwood North, works its way around to North Oak Street, comes out to Bemis, goes back on Knights Academy. Then on the south, it goes down to the airport. And something unusual, it does go under 75 at Highway 84, picks up the James Road community out there, comes back under 75 at St. Augustine, mm-hmm. and then kind of squiggles around between the mall and the residential area.
Gotcha.
We think that there's, based on the population numbers, there's at least 32,000 people in this, and we have done our research with the Board of Elections and the University of Georgia. Dr. Charles Bullock was kind enough to advise us up there. And we believe that we have a little over 20,000 active voters in this district. And it's about half and half. Mm-hmm. Half Democrat, half Republican.
Right.
So I am running as Republican, but I'll be there to represent Democrats and Republicans if we're elected. We're going to represent all the people. And that's the way we've been over the years with our career in community service, and we can talk more about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, because your background, I think, it gives you a pretty unique perspective in a couple of roles just off the top of my head. But number one is you're an architect, and so when you talk about growth in Valdosta, you've seen that firsthand and been involved with that. But also you're a small business owner, and that's another unique perspective.
Absolutely. Over the years, we've served on quite a few volunteer boards. We've served on the Planning Commission. We've served on the Valdosta-Lowndes County Industrial Authority. Seen a lot of growth, done some planning for a lot of growth, and understand some handicaps that we've had over the years. Some of those have been removed now. We're blossoming, and that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. I'm currently chairman of a 7-county joint development authority. And we come together as a region in order to do projects and help finance those projects that need to be done in the individual counties. And it's 7 counties surrounding us here.
Okay.
So we're making some good headway with that. We just recently was able to get some additional acreage for Moody Air Force Base, difficult trading with a Corps of Engineer, let me tell you.
I can imagine.
But you should hear more about that this month. I think they're ready to make an announcement. We've got closing on all the land, and what it does on their northern border is it helps them extend their security with the C-130s out there. Been something that Moody's been trying to do for a long time. We've assisted in that. Over the years, we've assisted Valdosta State Foundation, Valdosta State University Foundation, with some financing on their properties, and that's what we're for. We don't have a staff. We just have volunteers. It's 2 from each county, and we have an attorney, a really good attorney, and so we have to pay him.
Yeah.
So, but we've managed to manage that, and it's been effective, and so it's difficult to do sometimes on a regional basis, but I think we have strength in numbers.
That's good. And again, glad that we're adding another seat here. You mentioned the current folks serving in the legislature, because Valdosta is a growing and vibrant area, and we need more voice in Atlanta.
Absolutely, and I don't need to forget about thanking our current delegation. I mean, they've done a lot of good things for our community and our region, and so we need to give them a pat on the back and tell them thank you. We appreciate them. I know all of them have competition this year, except Jason Shaw in the House, but they've all just done a good job, and it is a sacrifice. And as I learn more and more about it, I'm beginning to appreciate those sacrifices. And so we're ready to go up there and be part of it, and we think we can be effective. You know, architects by nature are problem solvers, and we take a lot of diverse things and you spread them out, and then you begin to pull in solutions, and you can take that and actually accomplish quite a bit sometimes, that fitting a puzzle together.
Right.
And so that's what we're all about, and that's what we've been about for 20 years, and we just take to it, and we like to work with people. We like to build consensus, and so we will get on one side of the fence or the other now.
Well, that's
that.
When you start pulling together those solutions. Again, Glenn Gregory joining us this morning, candidate for State House seat 177. When you start to pull together those solutions, that often and almost always involves dealing with people and working with people who have different views.
That's right.
And as a legislator, that's what you would be doing every day.
Yeah. You know, the other night at the Meet the Candidates by the Chamber, that was an excellent opportunity for the candidates to get out there, excellent opportunity for the public to meet the candidates. And as I got up to the podium there, I thought to myself, you know, what a great country we live in here. We can have such diversity in candidates, and then we get to choose who our leaders are going to be.
That's right.
So that's a privilege, and that brings me to voting. Please go vote. Please
Absolutely.
go vote. We are under a very special time that, you know, as I grew up and in my earlier years, I saw a lot of voter apathy. You know, were you going to sit home, let somebody else do it? Well, it's time to stand up and be part and be part of making the decision about your leaders. And so one of the things that we've been doing is trying to conduct voter registration in as many places as possible. You have to go out and get some training from the Board of Elections, but it's very simple to do. You show them how to fill out an application. You take the application up to the Board of Elections, and the Board of Elections goes through all the verification that's necessary. And so it's a great thing. Now, one thing I do want to point out about the students at VSU, they can actually have an impact on choosing their leaders locally here in Lowndes County, even though they're registered in their hometowns. When they come here and they take up residence and they have an address, as long as they re-register here in Lowndes County, they can vote in Lowndes County.
That's right.
So they can make a huge difference. And certainly with all the issues that the college students have with high tuition, you know, we got Hope Scholarship under jeopardy and funding of education, and that's an important thing, I think, to make them feel a part and to allow them to be a part of choosing their leaders.
The deadline to register, by the way, is next Tuesday, October the 9th. So
that's correct.
We need to make sure folks are aware of that. And if you moved one, I spoke to a gentleman yesterday. He said, you know, I moved out to Hayhira a couple of years ago. Do I need to I said, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and go get that done. So.
What will happen is you'll get a precinct card.
Yeah.
It's your new address and where you're registered, and it'll tell you where to go vote. And so that's the great thing. Again, I'm proud to be an American.
Well, you should be. Glenn Gregory joining us this morning on the Morning Drive, News Talk 105.9 WVGA. Glenn, what are some of the other issues at the state level? I know all the legislators which you just spoke of, you've met with them, you've talked with them.
Absolutely.
And you've been in tune to what's going on in the Georgia legislature. What are some of the other big issues you think we'll be facing in the future?
Well, all of them, to the number, they're really concerned about budget concerns and facing what they've got to do on the budget. Georgia has a $19 billion budget annually, and 53% of that goes to education. And the two main topics that I have concerns about is economic development and education. Economic development is something that I see a need for us to, it's the same old story, jobs, and more jobs.
That's right.
But the deal here is what we need to do is reach out and provide as much opportunity as we can to the average person to get a job. If they go to school here, they're born and raised here, we need to be obligated to provide some opportunity for them. And so small business needs opportunity, and we need to continue to spread the work out as much as we possibly can. And we absolutely need to keep as many SPLOST tax dollars here in this community as possible. Of course, being at the state legislature, we have opportunity to be able to look at pro-business aspects, and obviously this is going to be new ground for me.
Sure.
And we have a lot to learn, but we're going to be very focused on trying to expand economic development in our district and in Lowndes County and in this region. I appreciate being elected by these folks, but I'll be up there to represent South Georgia too.
Right, and we are a diverse community, so there are a lot of different voices and a lot of different wants from different people in the community. So
that's right.
That's a lot to pull together.
Back to education, it's really important. I did some research with both school boards as I was working on gathering information, and both of them, Lowndes and Valdosta, have had austerity cuts. They've had to lose teachers and lose programs, and that always gets to me. It gets my attention. And if we've got state funds, we need to be very careful with those state funds that they get directed back to where they need to be. And education is a priority with me. I will be also, Chris. Obviously, I've been in business here for 20 years. And we've made a payroll. We've been fortunate. Our office is up on Patterson Street, right next door to First Christian Church. We've got a 1920 historic home there that an architect named Lloyd Greer did years ago, and we've been happy there. It's been a great place to be. We've been very fortunate. We have been involved in historic preservation over the years and worked on the Lowndes County Historical Society Museum, helping to get it where it's serviceable, handicap accessible, putting an elevator in it, and and it goes on. We worked on the Roberts House, and done a lot of things with the Heritage Foundation, Valdosta Heritage Foundation. Back to the state situation, even though economic development and education are two priorities, what I would like to look at is state agencies, and do we have duplication? Are we spending money on overhead that we shouldn't?
Right.
For instance, a lot of them are in Atlanta. In fact, most of them are in Atlanta.
Exactly.
And, office space up there is probably twice what it ought to be in some cases. Maybe it's more.
Yeah.
But I'd like to look at details like that, and I don't know how much access I'm going to have, but I'm going to ask for it.
Well, again, that's in this day and age, especially with the wireless society which we live in, there's nothing to say that job can't be done somewhere else.
That's exactly right. And what's wrong with having some state agencies in South Georgia?
Absolutely, especially in those areas where we have strengths. We have a lot more agricultural interest in South Georgia than they do inside the perimeter. Why not have some of those offices down here?
Absolutely. It's, one of our number one economic engines is agriculture. And I'm acutely akin to that. Over the years, I've had a farm, and I still do some farming. We've got a place out east of town, and I don't raise crops for a living. I raise crop for fun.
Right.
But I do know a lot of farmers. I do understand their plight, and they take a risk every year.
Sure they do.
And they're at the mercy of nature.
Yeah.
And
high gas prices.
And the good Lord looks after a lot of them.
Absolutely. Glenn Gregory joining us this morning. Let me ask you finally, Glenn, and I like to ask this question of candidates because I think it does provide some insight. Running for office is time consuming. It's costly. It's, you've done all the things. You've met with a lot of people. You've put a lot of your own effort into this. What was it that made you decide that this is something that you would like to do? Because this is your first run for state office?
That's correct.
Yes.
And in fact, it's my first run for any political office. I'll tell you the story behind it. Years ago, bless his heart, Robert Patton passed away. And I was in his district. And at the time, Jay Shaw and I talked. Jay was really excited about going after it. He had the capability of doing that. He and I talked, and I backed away from it.
Okay.
And, Jason came along. That was his son.
Yeah.
Jason got elected to it. And they were doing such a good job, I wouldn't even look back at it.
Right.
But all of a sudden, I'm down there at the Board of Elections. I'm looking at Super District in the Commission, District 4,
right,
on the east side of town, and they called me in. They said, "Well, have you seen this map of 177?" I said, "No." And 98% of the people that I talk to say no. They don't know where these boundaries are on this 177. And it's just not something that's on every street corner. So anyway, they showed it to me, and it was in my district, in my area. I noticed that I had been moved out of 176 into 177. That was my first knowledge of it at the Board of Elections. And I just thought to myself, you've wanted to do this for a long time. You're at the age that you've got some maturity, you've got some experience, you've got a gift to be able to bring people together, build a consensus. You've been successful in business, so why not try it? So that's it. And I did talk to a lot of friends, and they encouraged me. And please don't let me forget to thank them for encouraging me and financially supporting a campaign like this. It's really a difficult situation. The first thing you get bombarded by is consultants. Yeah. And they come from Savannah and Atlanta and Macon, and and while they're very good at what they do, they're very expensive.
Yes.
So we've been running our own campaign, and fortunately, things are expanding and going and moving. And so everybody just keep us in your prayers out there. We try and do the best we can, but we do have to finance a campaign. Right. So we do take contributions. There's a special agency in Georgia called Georgia Finance and Campaign Department. And everything that you get, you have to send in to them on a regular basis. So there's a checkpoint on that, and you have a limit as to how much you can give. And you in the primary, and a limit how much you can give in a runoff, and a limit how much you can give in a general election.
Right.
So it's a new chapter in the book of life.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to this challenge, and we're just excited about it and hope people will support us. If
folks have some questions for you, Glenn, or want to contact you, is there a way they can?
Yeah, we have a website. It's www.gregoryforgeorgia.com.
Very good.
And then I can give you a telephone number. It's 242-6278. Give you another telephone number, 249-8833. And then I have a mobile. That's 630-2882.
Gotcha. And you can check that out. Matter of fact, if you happen to miss any portion of this interview, we'll have it up on our website at ValdostaToday.com. Again, GregoryForGeorgia.com. You can check it out there. And just find Glenn. He's around a lot of places. So if you run into him, say hello. And if you got a question, ask him. He'll be glad to answer it. Absolutely. We're also taking up invites from different ones to come and speak to their organization. And if you give us a call, we'd be glad to come talk to you, tell you about our background, and answer any questions that you might have. Glenn, thanks for your time this morning. We appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, Chris. Absolutely. Glenn Gregory, he is a candidate for State House Seat 177 on the November the 6th general election ballot, running as a Republican in that race. So we appreciate his time this morning. We'll take a break and come right back. We'll have more of the morning drive. Coming up right after this is 72 degrees outside, rainy on a Thursday morning. We'll be back with more of the morning drive. Right after this on News Talk 105.9. This is WVGA.